You think you're getting older, but maybe you're just getting sore. In this true story video, you'll see the transformation of a 50-year-old man who thought he was losing his vitality due to age, until he discovered the real culprit was his breakfast. White bread, processed meats, sugar in your coffee. They may seem harmless, but they can destroy your energy, your mental focus, and even your sex life. See how simply cutting out these foods restored energy, concentration, and even the desire he thought he had lost forever. This video includes real scientific data, comparative medical tests, expert-recommended foods, and practical morning routine tips for anyone looking to regain sexual and mental vitality at 50, 60, or beyond. Like, share with someone who needs to regain their energy, and subscribe to the channel to receive real, exciting, and effective tips for longevity and vitality. My name is Antonio, and I need to tell you something that you might need to hear right now. Because for a long time, I thought the problem was age. I thought it was normal to wake up tired, to have joint pain, to lose desire, patience, energy, as if suddenly at 50, I had become an old man overnight. But it wasn't age, it was what I put on my plate. Or rather, it was what I put in my cup and on my toast every morning, thinking it was normal. For years, my breakfast was practically always the same. Warm white bread, sometimes a slice of ham and cheese, spread with margarine, coffee with sugar, lots of sugar. On the weekends, a donut, a plain cake, and the occasional no sugar added juice box. And then the day would begin. But even after sleeping 8 hours, I would drag on. A heaviness in my body, a sluggishness that not even a shower could fix. The worst was after 10 in the morning. I would have a burst of energy and then a blackout. My body would beg for the couch, my mind would go haywire. My libido, disappearing day after day, like a radio that loses its signal. It was my wife who first noticed. Not just the tiredness, but the look in my eyes. She said, "You always seem absent." And I was offended, because nobody wants to hear that. But she was right. Until one day, by chance, I heard a doctor talking on TV about silent inflammatory foods. And he said a phrase that has stuck with me. "You're not getting older, you're getting inflamed." That day, I went to research, and what I discovered changed my life. White bread, for example, the kind that seemed so harmless, is made with refined flour, with virtually no fiber. When we eat it, it turns into sugar in our bloodstream within minutes. This causes a spike in glucose levels, followed by a sudden drop, which leaves us feeling sleepy and hungry again. According to Harvard Medical School, regular consumption of refined flour is associated with increased insulin resistance and reduced endothelial function. In other words, it affects circulation, including the circulation that is essential for erections. Then comes processed meats: ham, turkey breast, sausage, salami. All of them are rich in nitrites and nitrates, preservatives that, when heated, form carcinogenic compounds called nitrosamines. The World Cancer Research Fund, WCRF, recommends avoiding processed meats altogether. In addition, these foods are rich in sodium and saturated fats, which clog blood vessels and impair circulation. And what about coffee with sugar? According to the WHO, the recommended daily limit of sugar is a maximum of 25 grams per day. But just 2 tablespoons in your coffee already exceeds that. Sugar feeds inflammation, unbalances hormones, and most cruelly, it slowly destroys testosterone, according to a study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Of clinical endocrinology, I was destroying myself at breakfast. I decided to do a personal experiment. For 30 days, I removed these items from my breakfast. It wasn't easy. At first, it seemed like my body was craving bread like an addiction. I missed sugar. I felt headaches and irritability. But I persisted. And what happened in the following weeks was simply unbelievable. In the first week, my bowel movements improved. I felt lighter and less bloated. In the second week, I started waking up before my alarm clock. I felt more energetic. I felt like walking, something I hadn't done in months. In the third week, something changed in my skin. My face was less swollen, my eyes were brighter, and most unexpectedly, my desire returned. My wife and I started having intimate moments again with desire and energy. She would say, "You're different, you're more present," and I felt alive again. But it wasn't magic, it was science. By replacing white bread with scrambled eggs with avocado, or oatmeal with berries and seeds, my body started to receive good fats, fiber, and real antioxidants. Sugar was out of the picture, and coffee became black or with cinnamon, which also helps regulate blood sugar. Instead of processed meats, I started eating hummus, chickpea paste, or a slice of grilled tofu. I also learned how to make pancakes with banana and oatmeal. Everything was simple, affordable, and powerful. According to the Cleveland Clinic, simple changes to your breakfast can reduce inflammatory markers by up to 30% in 4 weeks. Testosterone can also be influenced by diet. The University of Cambridge found that diets rich in fruits, vegetables, unsaturated fats, and zinc, like those found in eggs and seeds, increase natural testosterone levels. I didn't need medicine, I needed information. Today, at 53, I feel lighter, more focused, more confident. I am no longer a hostage to the vicious cycle of food that used to bring me down early in the morning. My day starts with energy, my mood has changed, my relationship with my wife has improved. And it all started when I realized that the problem wasn't my age, it was what I was eating. And maybe you are living exactly the same thing I lived. Perhaps the most surprising thing was the effect on areas I had no idea were linked to breakfast. Because you see, when you spend years consuming processed meats, refined flours, and hidden sugars early in the morning, your body enters a silent routine of inflammation. And inflammation, as I discovered, is the backdrop to almost all the problems I thought were due to age: low libido, difficulty with erections, mental fatigue, memory loss, mood swings, anxiety, and even that stubborn belly. The first concrete evidence of this came when, 30 days after the change, I decided to take tests. My doctor, the same one who had prescribed me stimulants before, was surprised by the results. My total cholesterol had decreased. HDL, the good cholesterol, increased. My fasting blood sugar levels became more stable. But what caught my attention the most? My total testosterone levels had increased, without hormone replacement therapy. That's when he explained something to me that few people talk about. Male hormone production is directly linked to sleep, stress, and diet. Diets rich in simple carbohydrates and saturated fats increase cortisol, the stress hormone, which competes directly with testosterone. In other words, the more sugar, the more stress spikes, the more hormonal blockage, and less desire, less erection, less motivation. And when testosterone drops, we feel it, not just in bed, but in our energy to work, our mental focus, our enjoyment of life. I was numbing myself with breakfast, and I only realized it when I took the poison off my plate. Now I'm going to tell you something you may never have stopped to think about. Blood circulation is the basis of all our sexual vitality. An erection, for example, is not just about desire, it's about blood flow, and this flow depends directly on the health of the arteries, the same ones that are destroyed by excess saturated fat, processed meats, and sugar. A study published in the International Journal of Impotence Research has shown that men with anti-inflammatory diets, rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and nuts, had up to a 40% lower risk of developing erectile dysfunction. What's more, when I took sugar out of my coffee, something unexpected happened. My anxiety decreased. I was less irritable, less reactive. I began to notice that sugar spikes put me in an automatic mode of impulsiveness, nervousness, and even sadness. My body was on alert. It was as if I was always at war with myself. Instead, I began to feel calmer, more centered. My breathing changed. My mood improved. And with it, my relationship with my wife did too. We started talking more again, laughing over silly things, touching each other without rushing, without obligation. My libido, which seemed dead, came back to life naturally, spontaneously. She herself once said during dinner, "You're listening to me with your eyes now. Before, you weren't even looking." It destroyed me inside and rebuilt me, because yes, I was present, for the first time in years, and all because I decided to question what I put on my plate as soon as I woke up. From the second half of the month onwards, I created a new morning routine. I would wake up, drink a glass of water with lemon and a pinch of turmeric, a powerful natural anti-inflammatory. Then, I would prepare scrambled eggs with olive oil and spinach. Sometimes I would add avocado, which is rich in potassium and good fats that increase hormone production. I would alternate with banana and oat pancakes, or porridge with flaxseed, chia, and berries. I started drinking my coffee black, without sugar. At first it was strange, but then I realized that it was the sugar that made me dislike the real flavor, and when I cut it out, my taste buds became sharper. I started to really enjoy it, and this awakening wasn't just physical, it was mental. I read more. I could concentrate more easily. I started sleeping better, and get this, my hair started falling out less. It may seem silly, but it's all connected. Inflammation even affects the hair follicles. Today I take light walks in the morning. I activate my body with simple stretches. And every day I feel more alive, more confident, more whole. No, I'm not 20 again, but I feel much better than when I was 48 and living high on sugar and flour. You don't need a miracle pill. You need to remove from your plate what is draining your energy without you realizing it. You need information, courage, and patience, because change is gradual, but it comes. And when it comes, it transforms everything. And if you're listening to this right now and you recognize yourself in this story, tired, irritated, without desire, frustrated with your body or the mirror, know this: maybe the problem isn't your age. Maybe it's just what you're eating at 7 in the morning. The change that began with my breakfast spread throughout my life. It was as if, by removing the villains from my first meal of the day, I had freed my body from a silent shackle. The inflammation subsided, my desire returned, and so did my vitality. And with that, something bigger happened. I regained the will to take care of myself. A lot of people ask me, "Antonio, what exactly do you eat these days?" So here goes, without secrets, a practical routine that transformed my days and my health. As soon as you wake up on an empty stomach, drink a glass of warm water with half a lemon squeezed into it and a pinch of turmeric. This combination helps detoxify the liver, improves digestion, and has a proven anti-inflammatory effect. A study by the National Institute of Health showed that turmeric can reduce inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein by up to 30%. After that, instead of white bread, I choose sources of protein and good fat. One of my favorite breakfasts: 2 free-range eggs scrambled in olive oil with spinach or kale, half an avocado with a drizzle of olive oil, pink salt and pumpkin seeds, rich in zinc, 1 cup of pure coffee with cinnamon. When I want something different, banana pancakes, 1 banana plus 1 egg plus 1 spoon of oats, which are ready in 5 minutes and give me energy until lunch. On the weekends, I like to prepare oatmeal with plant-based milk, chia, strawberries, and a spoonful of 100% natural peanut butter, all rich in fiber, antioxidants, and nutrients that support the body without causing sugar spikes. And it's important to say, I didn't become a slave to a perfect diet. I learned to listen to my body, to notice when a food inflames me, not only physically, but mentally. Today, if I eat something too sweet or processed, I notice the difference within a few hours. Tiredness, irritation, loss of focus. And you know what's even more beautiful? This change has become a virtuous cycle. I eat better, sleep better, have more energy, move more, feel more attractive, desire more, connect better with my wife, and I feel like myself again. This is priceless. Now I want to speak directly to you who have followed me this far. Maybe you think that you have already passed the point, that it is no longer worth changing, that your body is too old for this. But let me tell you, I thought the same thing, until I discovered that vitality does not depend on your birth certificate, but on the fuel that you give yourself every day. And that fuel starts at breakfast. If you still put margarine on your white bread, if you still open a carton of juice thinking it's healthy, if your coffee has always been sweetened, I understand you. I don't judge you. I was exactly like that. But I'm here to tell you, you deserve to feel alive again, with desire, with energy, with clarity. Your body can still surprise you. Your mind can still awaken. Your heart can still love intensely. And believe me, Your sexuality can still blossom, even after 50, even after 60, because youth is not the absence of wrinkles, it is the presence of vitality. If today you woke up discouraged, frustrated, thinking that the problem is age, do one thing: change your breakfast. Take away the sugar, take away the sausages, take away the white bread. Give your body a chance to show you who you can still be. Because sometimes, life's turning point begins with a simple no to what always seemed harmless, and a yes to your new self. If this story made sense to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below, what's for breakfast today? And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and let's take care of your energy, vitality, and sexual well-being together with awareness and truth. Because longevity starts on the plate.